So here it is, my very first video of my brand new YouTube channel, Thrifty with AA. I'm recording in my newly created studio in my basement, which I did pretty much all by myself and on a very low budget. This place was a dump really about a month ago. It was very disorganized, very messy place, and we just put all the junk of the house down here, and I've managed to transform it into very much my dream man cave and home office. My name is Abdulaziz, and this channel is about how to be wise with your money and how to be resourceful. So what better way to start my new channel than by going through how I managed to transform this very messy, untidy cellar into my very comfortable working home office. So if you watch till the end, I'm going to show you all the numbers, how much I spent in total on transforming this place. It wasn't actually that much. It took a lot of hard work though. So the first thing I did was the most tedious and the hardest probably, which was to clear the cellar, because in our cellar we had a door, a chest of drawers, loads of toys, about 7 boxes of Lego. We had lots of things, and to be honest, I threw away a lot of stuff, but then I also sold quite a lot of things on Gumtree and eBay, and it takes some time because you advertise and people have to see the item, and if someone's interested then they'll buy it. So it took me a few months to actually clear the cellar, but once I got it cleared, things started to move on. So next thing I did was I did 2 things really. I created the 2 boards that kind of made the artificial walls, like this one here and another one over there, and I created the really big racking here. The whole shelf is 140 centimeters in length and 60 centimeters in depth, which allows a lot to be stored per shelf, a lot bigger than my previous shelves, which were only 30 centimeters in depth. There are 3 shelves, and then using the floor space, that gives me pretty much 4 shelving areas. I actually spent quite a lot. It was my first big DIY carpentry project, making these shelves, and it cost me about £180 in timber from our local timber merchant. And that racking alone allowed for nearly everything on this side of the cellar to be taken off the ground and on one side. And that really changed things for me, because straight after that I was able to plaster the walls. And I'm not a builder and I've never done plastering before, but my cousin, he helped me out. He has some experience of plastering in his own house, and he plastered the walls, and I helped him mix the plaster and apply some of it. But together we managed to plaster 2 walls of this part of the cellar. So then the plastering and then painting the walls cost me about £35. And then the most complicated and most interesting part was making these bookcases. So again, from the same timber merchant in my local area, from there I used about 3 sheets of plywood made of 18mm thick plywood to create these 2 bookcases. And I was restricted with the size of the bookcases because this bookcase had to be within this pillar and also within this fireplace part that sticks out here. So then I replicated this bookcase on the other side, which is slightly wider on one direction. In total, the bookcase cost me about £250 in wood and primer and paint for pair of the bookcases. And these, I really wanted to create these bookcases because there are 6 shelves. I've designed it such that there are 6 shelves, and that allows for me to put lots of books and ornaments and other things, my accessories, off the floor, and I can access it nicely from the shelves. Once I finished creating the bookcase, my cousin suggested to me, why don't I make the desk? So I decided to get more plywood. I got more 18mm plywood, and I created this desk. I used medium oak wood stain on it, a few coats of that, and then I used 2 coats of clear varnish, and in between the coats I sanded it down. I also created this extra shelf, which currently has my monitor and printer, which I'm going to change around a little bit. But the timber for this desk cost me about £25, and I also created the legs, and I hooked the back of it on with L brackets onto the bookcases, so it fits in exactly in between the two bookcases. The timber for the desk cost me about £25. And finally, this is the bit that I didn't do. I know my limits. I can't do everything, and I think I got a very good deal. So a local carpet shop, we've been using them for years in the family. The whole of this area of the cellar, they delivered it and fitted it on for £200, and I think that was a great price. In total, what I've spent, the cost of the shelving unit, the walls, the bookcases, the desk, and the flooring cost me roughly £740 to £750. But I'm estimating in labour I must have saved, and this is me breaking it down. I also didn't mention that I spent another £50 on these boards. So as an estimate, in terms of labour costs, I've saved quite a lot, because I think to put these two boards up, I think somebody would have charged about £50. Making the racking, I've estimated the very large racking, it would cost about £120. And then making, or plastering the walls and painting the walls, someone would have charged at least £300. And I'm going by minimum estimates, by the way. And then making the bookcases, these corner bookcases, these are bespoke bookcases. Yes, I'm not a builder, but they look pretty good and they're pretty functional. Someone would have charged to make one of those at least £250 from scratch. And I've created two of those. So I think I've saved about £500 in labour on just making the bookcases. The desk, to make this desk painted and cut up nicely and fit it together, someone would have charged about £100. Labour probably. I'm estimating that I've saved about £1,070 in total on labour. So I created this man cave over a few months. It took a long time to clear it, really, so I was constantly taking pictures of items, advertising it online, hopefully selling them as soon as I could, and then coming back after work, doing some DIY, and then also spending full weekends doing DIY, sometimes 12-hour shifts, but I eventually got it done. I highly recommend, if you've got space like this in your house, whether it's a loft or a basement or even a spare room where things are just cluttered and disorganized, put some effort in, learn some skills along the way, save a lot of money, and you can create yourself a nice home office, a very productive place, or even a nice comfortable extra living space for yourself. So as I mentioned, this channel is about how to be wise with your money and to be resourceful. So please join me in my journey to be frugal and resourceful as possible, and maybe we can share our ideas together. Please leave some comments, what you think of this man cave that I created, or any other suggestions, anything you can suggest to put in the background would be appreciated. Please subscribe, give me a like, and I'll see you soon.